Hello students, welcome again. Students, in our previous video lectures, we discussed the critics like I.A. Richards, Alan Tate and so many others. Here, today, we want to understand Virginia Woolf as a critique. What are the critical theories propounded by Virginia Woolf as far as English novel is concerned? Now, remember Mrs. Virginia Woolf, who is also known as a very important novelist of the 20th century English literature. She has also written several critical essays to explain her own theory of novel of English fiction. And that is why, we believe that she was a critique of great insight and penetration who has thought long and deep about the mysteries of the art of writing novels, because she has herself experimented these her own theories, her own techniques, which she has presented in this essay Modern Fiction. Her views on the novel are expressed from time to time in different letters written by her, different articles, critical essays, and so on. But the most important contribution by Virginia Woolf for English fiction is this essay. The title is Modern Fiction, which was first published in 1919 in English language. Now, let's now try to find out what are her views about modern fiction. Fiction means novel. Okay. Now, in the beginning of this essay, Virginia Woolf has tried to review the traditional novels which were existing before the 20th century and also during her times, because Virginia Woolf lived in the beginning of the 20th century. So she had read the Victorian novelists, even the modern novelists of the in the beginning of the 20th century. So she makes a survey of the contemporary fiction, okay, of the contemporary fiction, that is 20th century fiction, and also of the 19th century Victorian fiction. Particularly, she talks about the novels written by H.G. Wells. We know H.G. Wells as the science fiction writer, right? You remember that? So H.G. Wells, there was Arnold Bennett, there was John Galsworthy. These were the contemporary writers who were writing novels in English literature during the times of Virginia Woolf. Mainly, Virginia was much dissatisfied with the kind of novels written by these writers H.G. Wells, Arnold Bennett and Galsworthy. Why? Because she believed that their novels are no doubt perfectly constructed, no doubt about that. Okay, even if you read 18th century novels of Henry Fielding, even if you read 19th century novels of Jane Austen or Charles Dickens, we find good plot construction, proper climax, proper end of the story, denouement, all characters are well developed, everything is going on in proper manner if you examine the 18th and 19th century novels. But this was the reason of her dissatisfaction. She was disappointed to read these novels of the 18th and 19th century. No doubt, she believed that they certainly had much to give, which was admirable. For that, she salutes them. Okay, but there was much else which was missing. Okay, and that's why she calls these 18th and 19th century novelists as materialist. These are the words in red color written by Virginia Woolf in her modern fiction. She says that they are concerned not with the spirit but with the body. Okay, in our existence, body and spirit both are important. Okay, but spirit is more important than the body. Okay, so she believes that the 19th century or H.G. Wells novels, okay, Bennett's novels, Galsworthy's novels, they are missing the spirit part of the story, right? And that is what disappoints her. Okay, regarding the drawbacks of H.G. Wells, she says that Mr. Wells had purity of inspiration but took upon his shoulders the work that ought to have been discharged by the government officials. Okay, when you read H.G. Wells novels, what do you see? You see social, economic, and political problems which are discussed by the novelist, which, according to Virginia Woolf, is crudity and coarseness of the human beings. That is not the job of the novelist to present the social problems, economic problems, or political issues. To discuss these issues in novels is not the responsibility of the novelist. Okay, and that's why she says that these are the responsibilities of the government officials, right? And that's why she believes, Virginia Woolf believes, that sociological concerns in Wells' novels killed the artist in him. Wells, according to her, was indeed a great artist, but because his bent of mind was towards the presentation of these sociological issues, that's why the artist in H.G. Wells is killed. Regarding Arnold Bennett, also, she says that Bennett was a perfect artist. His characters are all lively characters, okay? But Bennett failed to give the reason of life. He missed the soul, okay? Soul is more important in the character. Virginia feels that we do not get the reality of life in Bennett's novels. She writes that life refuses to live there in his novels. And that's why, she concludes that Bennett is also a failure as a novelist. Regarding Galsworthy, the third novelist about whom she makes a review of the novels, Galsworthy. Regarding Galsworthy, he says that Virginia Woolf says that he was no doubt an admirable craftsman, a great artist, okay, but they are all materialists. Why? Because they write about what? They write about very unimportant things, because they spend immense skill and immense effort making the trivial and transitory appear the true and the enduring. Okay, so the point that Virginia Woolf wants to make is that trivial subject matters can never be enduring, can never be made permanent or universal. So, better not to deal with such trivial issues. What are the trivial issues? She objected against the sociological, political, and such problems, okay, which are not the responsibilities of the novelist to present them in the novel. So now, and she said that life was missing. Okay, now the question is, how does this life come in the novel? Okay, so for that she says that life escapes them. Them means the previous writers, previous novelists whom I just now mentioned, right? Wells, Galsworthy, and others. Life escapes them, and perhaps without life nothing else is worthwhile. According to Virginia Woolf, the test of a successful novelist that is that he should give life and spirit or reality or truth in the novel. Okay, and all these novelists, they are just slaves to the previous convention or tradition. I mean, she wants to say that they are, though acclaimed as great novelists, they follow their tradition. And in following their tradition, they forget to add the newness into their novels. Okay, it is the responsibility of the novelist to add something of his own, okay, which was missing according to Virginia Woolf. It was Fielding's convention. Henry Fielding, you know, the father of English novel. Henry Fielding started a convention that a well developed plot construction, well developed characters, proper climax, proper denouement, all such things. This convention had been started by Henry Fielding fine, but by imitating him blindly, you know, you are just blindly following the convention and you are missing the truth, you are missing the reality, you are missing the spirit or life in your novels. Okay, and the result was that Virginia Woolf was much dissatisfied with such traditional novels. But you know, she makes a survey, and in her survey, she appreciates some other novelists also, like James Joyce. Okay, we have the writers like James Joyce who wrote Ulysses and the Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man, who is different from all other traditional novelists. Virginia compares James Joyce's works with the works of the traditional novelists and calls him a spiritualist. So, spiritualist is the right kind of a novelist. Who is a spiritualist? A spiritualist novelist is one who brings in real life spirit in the novels. In contrast with those whom we have called materialists, Mr. Joyce is spiritual. That is what Virginia Woolf says. She compares Joyce with Wells, Galsworthy, Bennett, and other traditional novelists and comes to this conclusion that Mr. Joyce is spiritual. He is concerned at all costs to reveal the flickering of that innermost flame. Okay, and she further says that on a first reading, at any rate, if you read James Joyce novels, at any rate, you can never deny the work as a masterpiece. If you want life, it is there in his novels. So she was much appreciating James Joyce as a novelist, as a spiritualist novelist. Okay. At the end of her essay, she also talks about her very well famous concept of stream of consciousness technique. According to her, you know, the modern age means I'm talking about the beginning of the 20th century. 20th century was the period of the development of psychology. Okay, so the development of psychology influenced English literature also, and in that development, you know, psychology believed that mind is more powerful than anything else in our existence. Okay, mind, our human mind receives myriad impressions. Myriads mean multiple, so many impressions. Some are trivial impressions, some are fantastic impressions, some evanescent means temporary, some are permanent. All these come together at a time, you know, at a time. Sometimes you must have observed your own self that hundreds of thoughts go together in your mind at the same time. So that is reality, psychological reality of the character, that must be presented exactly in the novels, okay, which is actually not so much possible. Why? Because you know, writing needs logic, okay, and thoughts do not have logic. There is no plot construction in the story or in the thoughts which are going on in the mind of the writer, okay. So but she gives importance to the expression of that realistic picture of the impressions, mental impressions that the writer receives about the character. They must be presented exactly as they are, okay. She says that life is not a series of jig lamps symmetrically arranged. Do you think that your life is just properly arranged beads or jig lamps? No, nothing goes in one straight manner. So, why in literature we believe that there should be proper beginning, proper middle, and proper end? Why do we believe that we must follow these rules of climax, denouement, introduction, and all such things? Okay, so life is a luminous halo, semi transparent envelope surrounding us from the beginning of consciousness to the end, right from the childhood to all through our life. You know, we keep on receiving so many impressions, images, experiences, and combined together makes our mental psyche, and that psyche should be given, should be represented by the novelist, okay. Life is not fixed or static. It is a flux of a shower of atoms, right? It is the prime business of the novelist. According to her, she says that it is your business as a novelist to convey, to express this fluidity, this uneven flow of your mental thoughts in your novels, right? The conventions, the traditions of properly following the plot construction, properly writing tragedy, comedy, climax, catastrophe, denouement, and all these things, you know, make your novels quite artificial, not natural, not real. If you do that, your life is missing in your novels, okay. And that's why she does not even suggest any method to write the novels. She says that any method is right, every method is right that expresses what you wish to express. So don't follow any method. She, in fact, comes out with a kind of innovative romantic view or liberal view by rejecting the previous traditional norms of writing novels, okay. For her, for Virginia Woolf, technique is not so much important, okay. Aim is more important. How you achieve the aim of conveying your idea, your thoughts, the mental psyche of the character, that is important, okay. And for this purpose, she appreciates some Russian novelists and some Russian short story writers who were doing such job, writing novels and short stories in this manner. In which manner? By rejecting all the norms of writing novels and following the following and trying to express that psychological expression in the novels, okay. So in the end, Virginia Woolf tells us that in novel writing nothing is forbidden but only falsity and pretense. There should not be any pretense on the part of the author, okay. Once you start writing something in a systematic manner, you are not natural, you are pretending, right? The proper stuff of fiction does not exist there. Everything is proper stuff of fictions. So any subject matter, no matter what subject matter you are talking about, all subject matters can be presented in the novels, but without such traditional norms. And that's why she says that no doubt we must learn something from them, from the tradition, but these tradition must be changed, must be altered in keeping with the changes in the connection of life and society in our times. Okay, the similar idea, if you have watched my previous video on T.S. Eliot, tradition and individual talent, Eliot has also presented a similar kind of view. Eliot also believed that tradition, every artist, every novelist, poet is the product of his tradition, but at the same time he changes the tradition by his own talent. Okay, so Eliot and Virginia Woolf at the end seem to meet in this essay. One essay written by Eliot, The Tradition and Individual Talent, another essay written by Virginia Woolf, The Modern Fiction. So I hope now the idea is clear to you. If you have still any doubts, then do write to me in the comment section of this channel, and if you really like this video, please share it among your friends and classmates so that others also can be benefited. Thank you for watching. Thank you.